Hi, it's Stacy with Families with Grace, and today I'm talking to you about the heart of Christmas. 9 years ago, my thoughts on Christmas began to shift. Christmas has always been my favorite holiday. I love the story of the birth of Jesus. A pastor I had when I was a child pointed out that Christmas was sort of pointless without also the story of the cross, and that's true enough. I think, however, the two stories going together are what makes Christmas so very special. I marvel at the thought of bringing a baby into the world, knowing full well that he was going to have to die a horrible death to save the very people who drove in the nails, both literally and figuratively. What a gift. What a love. What a God. This is the line of thinking that has hit home to me more since becoming a mother myself. I've thought about how overwhelming it must have been for Mary as a mother. All new mothers are overwhelmed, especially with their first children. If they tell you otherwise, I'd guess that they're lying. I can't imagine how much more Mary must have been overwhelmed knowing that the baby she was carrying was the Son of God. I mean, talk about pressure. Add in that she had to give birth in a barn with only Joseph and animals around while she labored and delivered, and I can't even begin to imagine how overwhelmed and terrified she must have been. I've also thought about practical sort of things, like whether Jesus cried. As a child, I was always told that he didn't cry because he was perfect. As a mom, I think about that now and think how difficult that would be. How did Mary know when he was hungry? How did she know when he needed to be changed? How did he communicate with her before he could communicate with words? The logistics of it all seem so incredibly tricky. I'm not sure that he wouldn't have cried sometimes. I mean, he was a baby. And then I start wondering about what his toddlerhood was like as I remember my own kids' toddler days and the joys of keeping them out of the trash and away from scissors and other things that were dangerous and harmful for them. Did Mary have to admonish little Jesus for getting into the trash or for playing with Joseph's tools? I mean, how does a perfect baby learn? How do you even begin to teach him? I don't know the logistics. I don't know whether Jesus explored and pushed boundaries and tried to put every single piece of lint he found into his mouth. I don't know if Mary always maintained a patient, calm composure when dealing with these phases, or if maybe she sometimes lost her cool. Maybe those frustrating moments just didn't even happen. As the only perfect person to walk the earth, Jesus may have somehow innately knew not to do things like try and remove trash from the can or lick the dog. What I do know for sure this Christmas season is that God sent his Son to save the world so that we might be free to love and to live in him. I know that I'm more thankful for that gift than ever before because I want it for my children. I look at them and love them so completely into the core of my very being, and I want them to know God's love. So many theological topics can trip people up, but the one thing that remains and should always be the center is that God is love. He is the reason for the season. He is everything, and he is all that matters. The small details and the specifics don't matter in the face of the great love of God. Those are the things that I'm thinking about this Christmas season. As you gather with your families to celebrate, I wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a wonderful New Year.